Thank you guys for being here, and Brett, thank you for putting this on. It's awesome to be a part of this, so I appreciate that. This year we return a lot of experience. I think we go 6 or 7 deep as far as our lineup is concerned. Right now, we're trying to get healthy. We got a couple guys that are banged up. 2 of them are right here, but I think everybody will be healthy by opening day. I think for us this year, the strength of the ball club probably be defensively and at the plate. It's one of the better offensive teams I think that I've had since I've been head coach at El Dorado. From a pitching standpoint, I think that if we can find one more, I think everybody says this, if we can find one more arm, one more guy to give us a little some consistent innings, I think we can make some noise. We have this year we happen to be in Division II. And if some things kind of work out, I think that we have the ability to make a good run in the Division II playoffs. Our league should be strong this year. Foothill, who's always strong, has a lot of their top guys back and good arms back, and Canyon is on the upswing, and El Medina is always a tough team to play as well. So we know we're going to face good competition in league. We play a really strong out of league schedule as well with the tournaments that we play in and the individual games that we play. But I'm really looking forward to this season with this group, especially because of the experience, because of the leadership, and a lot of that comes from these 3 guys that you see up here. It's I think the only year so far as a head coach that I can remember where I really truly believe this, I could sit in the stands and not coach during practice, and they could take care of it, and the rest of the coaches too. These guys know what they're doing. They've been with me for 2 or 3 years as starters. They know what's expected of them. They know what's expected of the younger guys. They could run practice. They could take care of it. And when you have teams like that hold each other accountable, that's when some special things can happen. So looking forward to the start of the season. Looking forward to getting everybody back healthy. And I know these guys are itching to get started too.
Open up to the media.
Hi guys, Steve Doherty, PBR. Coach, these are the guys right now that are making the impact. Why don't you talk a little bit about some of the guys that aren't here that are impact players that we need to know about?
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, a good chunk of our starting lineup is back at third base. Nate Cadena, who's a junior, started for us last year as a sophomore. Landon Runge, who's a sophomore, started for us last year as a freshman at short. The left side of the infield's back. Our starting catcher, Bryce Gamble, who was an all-league guy as a sophomore, he's back. So we have some experience there. As far as newcomers are concerned, on the mound, Josh Pugh, Jaden's little brother, who's still in basketball right now, but should be a guy who contributes some significant innings for us this year. In the outfield, we have a new center fielder, Max Reardon, coming up from the lower levels, who's played really well so far this fall and winter. So those are some of the guys that I think that aren't here with us now that will be guys to look for this season.
Corbin, this one's for you. We talked a lot about 2-sport athletes during the coaches panel and kind of the lack of them in today's day and age. You obviously stand out on the football team. How do you think that playing 2 sports has helped you in baseball specifically, to develop or maybe kind of leave something more there, if you will?
So I was free safety in football and do a lot of drills, quarterback drills, a lot of doing step backs and stuff. And I'd say our last game that we played against, who was the last game we played?
Baseball or football?
Baseball.
Definitely.
We played. All right, we played San Juan Hills. Guy hit a pretty deep ball right field, and I did a drop. I dropped back, and I was able to track the ball. And I think that it's kind of similar to in football when you're kind of reading the quarterback, and the quarterback throws, and you kind of have to kind of track the ball and see it. You kind of just with the wide receivers, same thing. I guess kind of the drills that you kind of do in football, I guess it can definitely carry over into baseball.
Steve Fryer from the Register here, Orange County Register. For years, Esperanza was the big rival for El Dorado in baseball. Great games. Who do you guys, and all 3 of you are individual, or one of you can answer this, El Dorado baseball, who's the rival these days?
Well, I believe since our league's kind of shifted ever since back then, right now kind of our biggest rival, and they've been carrying kind of the league title for the past 2 years now, is Foothill. because Foothill right now, they have a lot of strong players. They're a super respectable program. But that's just those games against Foothill are definitely going to be the ones to watch in the upcoming season.
Thank you.
Coach, interesting situation here where you got guys on your panel here that haven't been committed to a college yet, and I'm sure you guys have aspirations of doing that. How do you navigate this situation where it's atypical?
I think that the more we talk to these guys individually and even as a group, as a program, and talk about, there's a time and a place. It'll happen. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And we've had guys, and I've used these examples before, in the history of our program where it hasn't happened for them, and then all of a sudden it does. We had a kid, I was an assistant coach at the time, this was in 2010, Brendan Fulkerson, who was our first baseman, at the time was committed to Concordia in Irvine. We make it to the semifinals of CIF. Some of you guys probably remember Peter Tago from Dana Hills. He hit Peter Tago all over the yard. The next day, his phone did not stop ringing from Division I coaches. He wound up at Long Beach State. So those things can happen, and that's the point that we've been trying to kind of get across to some of these guys is that it is going to happen. It just takes the right coach, the right program to take a chance. I kind of joked a little bit when I was filling out the questionnaire for the media guy, and it says college commits, and I said, can we put JC commits? Does that count? But there's no I don't find anything wrong with that either. We've had guys a couple years ago, Jesse Lopez, who's at Long Beach State now. Had nowhere to go out of high school, goes to Cypress for 2 years, has a great 2 years at Cypress, now he's at Long Beach State. So that route's not necessarily a bad route for some of these guys, especially when you're kind of an in-between guy, or you may need another year to develop physically or emotionally, and then now it's going to click for you. So and these guys, these three guys up here have done a great job with it. They know that, hey, I put in the effort, I put in the work, it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. So.